Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about Mirkwood for a moment. When we created and moved to the Mirkwood area in late 2016, our goal was to create a beautiful area for grand roleplay. Mirkwood has grown from an idea into 4 Sims in a community. Our area has offered a lot of amazing roleplay for over the last 2 years now, and our area exists for 2 reasons. Because of those who truly want to put roleplay over combat, who are interested in grand roleplay, and because of those who are generous and donate. Please make an effort to donate if you're able. Your donations make a huge difference. While I'm thinking about it, I want to talk to you about combat inside the Mirkwood Village. You can combat inside of Mirkwood Village. Yes, I know. That's right. You can combat inside of Mirkwood Village, but we ask that you roleplay first. That means no rating. It means operating only on information that was obtained from in-character means. And by roleplay, of course, we mean more than just saying, Tal, you're tall, and shooting them. The roleplay should be a good lead up to any combat. Keep in mind that often, if you roleplay, combat isn't necessary. Sometimes it is, but not always. I also want to mention that Mirkwood Village has tunnels. The tunnels actually exist in the sky, but from a roleplay perspective, they are under the village. The tunnels are in character. There are 2 entry points into the village. These entry points are teleport paths, and they are accessible by anyone, though you should really find them as you would find them a tunnel in real life. If someone tells you about them, or if you happen across them, but now you know. They are part of the roleplay environment. Going back to the entire Mirkwood area, now that we are entering into a new year, please put any past grudges, animosity, or judgments aside. Gore is small enough without damaging it by limiting further interactions between groups and individuals. I believe that there are a few things that we can do that will all make things more fun for all of us, and that's why I wanted to create this video today. All right, so let's talk about a few things. My boobs don't want to stay in. All right. Okay, let's talk about conflict roleplay. That's right, the big C word, conflict. Conflict is what makes roleplay fun. Does conflict... I can't talk. Does conflict mean attacking someone, taking them captive? Of course not. While capture roleplay is conflict roleplay, there's more to it than that. What is your character, and how is your character generating conflict? Is your character a slave? What is your character's motivation? Let's say you're a female slave or a bond in a Panther Girl band. What if you believe that your band doesn't like slaves, and there's only enough resources for a finite number of slaves? Perhaps your roleplay is setting up the other slaves so they get in trouble. Or perhaps you can sneak away from your camp under the cloak of darkness and create mischief in other camps while using the name of another slave to get them captured. Is your character a slaver, perhaps in the Mirkwood Village? Are you making connections with other villagers from other areas in Gore? Perhaps cities, outlaw camps? Perhaps you are letting the word out that captives can be brought to you to be collared, to be shipped through Gore wherever they are needed most, to be trained and branded. Do you know the different brands used in Gore? Do you have Gorean slave litanies that you use for training? A specific type of collar? Are your cages filled? Perhaps some rules need to be tweaked a little to allow for a good slave experience. Have you discussed this possibility? Do you trade slaves with other areas throughout Gore so that in-character rescue becomes much more difficult? Other than slave trade, is your character powerful, respected, consistent, and known to be fair? These things can be rather important. Is your character a Panther Girl? Do you focus on the fact that you are living in the forest with no luxuries? Your food and clothing come from what you hunt or sometimes steal, though you are stealing from those as poor as you. Do you understand that Panther Girls have a hard time even getting along with their own band and only band together in order to survive? Does your character take advantage of the roleplay that Panther Girl doesn't trust anyone, but does what she needs to in order to survive, to keep her freedom and secure what is needed for her and her band to survive? Do you change your character's outlook on someone when they betray the band and leave? Now you get the idea. Don't play male versus female. Don't treat slaves as if they were a free person, no matter how much you know about this person from an out-of-character standpoint. It's like, don't be afraid to explore this fictional character that you are role-playing. Which brings us to out-of-character just out of character. So out of character, we all are friends. In character, Gore is small enough that those outside of our own group need to be seen as potential threats, territorial invaders, rivals, and even enemies. This does not mean you have to combat everyone and put a collar on them. That may be part of it, but there's also other types of mistrustful, betraying, sneaky types of roleplay that are conflict-laden and don't deal with combat at all. Do you stay out of conflicts that happen between other bands or when slavers are hunting your rivals? Or do you always play the hero and then someone's roleplay before it even starts? That's right, Gore is small enough as it is. Running around and saving your friends or every female, both slave and free, whoever gets attacked is not roleplay. Rather, it limits and ruins roleplay. As you are watching me on this video, raise your hand if you enjoy being submissive in a conflict roleplay. I bet most of you have your hands raised right now. Don't worry, it's common. Being the captor, the dominant, the aggressor, that requires that you have confidence in your roleplay and your understanding of Gore, and that you sometimes need to be mean. I know in the real world you are not mean, neither am I. But here's a secret. Your roleplay character is not you. If your character is collared, the real you is not. If your character is whipped, you are not. Your character exists on a world called Gore. The environment is different, and the perceptions of the real you in real life do not pertain to the fictional character that you bring to life in the fictional world of Gore. It is not possible to go into too much depth in this topic in such a short video, but let me leave you with one thought. How fair is it for you to go out and seek conflict roleplay for yourself, to accept that other people being your captor or allow them to be mean to you when you are not willing to do that yourself? To that extent, I'm going to suggest that you stop setting up the majority of your roleplays by discussing it with each other and deciding on what's going to happen. I was asked the other day if I wanted to be taken on captive. When I asked who and why, I was told of a person from a combat-only group that had always wanted to experience forced captivity. That's what's known as a scene. Please try to avoid these as much as you can. Immerse yourself in your character. Roleplay anyone and everyone who is around you when you're online. Create conflict on how you behave. Develop your character and see what happens. The best roleplays are the ones that happen because a true reason for them to happen, not just the ones that are set up.